it's just really important for us to keep our minds open to the many different ways that people are and the different things that they bring to the table and the different experiences. So I'm really glad to have such a varied group of people joining us today. So the next person I'm going to invite to the stage was in the Air Force for a long time and has been involved in Warrior Writers for a while now too. And he puts together the journal called War Literature and the Arts. And he's a really amazing writer. He mostly does fiction, but he's got a poem also in our book. So please welcome to the stage Jay Mode.
So this first piece is called Veteran. Yeah, veteran, born of war, that lie of lies, uniformed into silence, signed away lives in pursuit of a service commanding you to hold on to some book or flag that clings to patriotism as if it's a guiding star, leading you to a future of promise and certainty until coming home breaks itself upon you in a way you can't see. The invisible bomb blast smoldering inside you. And then there's the duty to be back, to be right, to be a person who can forget, who can let go. But the day drives a memory back into light, into a war that won't let go. Won't allow you to escape that world of honor you're supposed to hold high like a flag hoisted on the moon, a fluttering shadow from a place we've lost. You can never reconcile the day with the night, the ghosts in the mind, the holes in the thoughts, until they tell you it's PTSD. And you listen, and you hear, and you see it in the eyes of the mirror, everything lettered into a name for what only you and those like you can know. Men and women searching for a healing word and voice, a gentle guide into night's every desperate end, where you find yourself over and over again staring into darkness, into pain, into secrets and boxed up tears, waiting for everything in the world to die. Two more. I don't know where these came from. I was kind of playing with language, and this guy popped into my brain, and this person he meets along the way. The first one's about his perspective, and the second one's the person he meets' perspective. It's called Adjustments. Rendered from embattled dreams, he empties himself onto saddled leather atop rubber and chrome. Driving sorrow hard into pedals and gears, he climbs and falls on a twisted road beneath a billion dying stars. And there, rising out of scorched earth and sand, Reno beckons, bending darkness into light and luring him back into storm and fire. With dice in hand and ablaze with desire, he burns once more in the desert of all that was. Born by that desperate wind, flickering with longing and need, a last prophet resurrects him upstairs into night's end, where dark hallway into dim rooms, a hollow game of take and give unfolds a pained silence like the flower of a stolen girl. And in the cornered stillness, long past imagining the lie of love, he enters the void of her, pretending to pretend that a dream can begin again. And in the sway of that night's demise, dispatched into worn and weary arms, he takes and he takes, giving only the spent of him in soiled bills that won't buy either of them back. And this is another perspective. Shielded by satin walls, on the fringe of a whispered transaction, she imagines the like of him. Alone, curiosity lingers on in the vestige of self, a relic of the life denied. Measuring uncertainty in the footfall of boots atop planked floors, she wonders, might the night's last burden be conveyed in quiet words or by savage commands? There, shackled to the great squandering of men, she adheres to the scriptures of servitude. On bruised flesh, rendered into half-life of hope, she yields to the call to give and give alone. Shedding the raiment of place and time, they encoil the bartered night into the contours of desire, searching for a lost promise in the remnants of faith. At night's end, at last in morning's grasp, she cradles the fragmented remains of the discarded boy within. A body maneuvering in search of solace behind restless, guarded eyes, each of them piecing together the scattered shreds of what remains, as if the fusion of the broken and maimed might become one, might form anew the strength to believe.
Just another chauffeur at the arrivals gate, holding up his "This Way to American Theater" sign, marshaling us back to the zone after R&R. Shipment of dogs to the Combat Stress Center. At last, the Army practicing shaman medicine. In the event of an approaching breakdown, personnel may drop by the CSC and pet the dogs. Mandatory rules of engagement briefing. Hundreds in the pews of the base chapel. JAG officer standing under a display of the Christ. Ends each mock scenario. Is it all right to kill now? Rack of reissued pulp novels in the main PX. Their cover paintings a vision of the perfect binge, following a summer love suicide on 9th Avenue while transiting between targets in Mosul. Fellow sergeant, longtime San Francisco, letter carrier shorts, Clash t-shirt, and pistol harness, brewing a batch of beer on a charcoal grill, leaning in. So who plays me in the movie? So there's another interesting anthology coming out next month called Journal of Military Experience out of Eastern Kentucky. Iraq guy who's put it together. There's a grad student out there. So this is from that anthology. This is called Selections from Field Guide, 1943. And in 1943, they put together a guide for the American soldiers who are going to serve in Iraq during World War II. So this is I think what Annie Dillard would call a found poem, which I've laid out like that. You have been ordered to Iraq, an experience few Americans have been lucky enough to have. You will enter Iraq as a soldier and as an individual. On our side, a man can be both. Your duties are laid out. It is what you do on your own that counts. One of your jobs is to prevent their dirty work. Plain common horse sense. You as a human being and the peace after it. You'll be telling your grandchildren, now when I was in Baghdad. Blazing heat and dust, black blisters and possible fever, yet the nights are uncomfortably cool. You have seen moving pictures about the colorful life of the desert. You will look in vain for the things you have been led to expect. You will smell and feel what the movies didn't warn you about. That tall man in the flowing robe you are going to see soon. Eden was located in this. Here it was, Babylon and Nineveh. You will very likely see their ruins, the great ruins of the world. Tigris and Euphrates empty into the Persian Gulf through one mouth. There is the month of fasting, Ramadan. All refusals at this period should be accepted without attempts at persuasion. To them you are an unbeliever. Keep away from mosques. Any drawing of blood at this period may have serious consequences. Don't put in your 2 cents. Unless you are ordered to Samara, it is advisable to stay away. This isn't preaching. Some of the Iraqis think the lens of a camera is an evil eye. You will make enemies by taking close snapshots and possibly wind up with a knife in your back. That tall man in the flowing robe you are going to see soon. Bargaining takes time. 1 dinar is worth $4. You need to know the numbers. The main thing is the spirit of politeness. Good, Zain. Bad, Muzain. Avoid the native oaths. Do not stare or smile at her. Leave some food in the bowl. What you leave goes to the women and children. The 3rd glass of tea is the signal to leave. Don't overstay your welcome. So, 2 more cookies. called The Kind Solitary. So looking at the idea of what people think about war from a place outside of war, particularly like the Eastern ideas, which I'm interested in, but some of them are, they seem to have a perspective on war that doesn't encompass the experience of it. So, The Kind Solitary in Nara Prefecture has it that revolutions and wars are just struggles in a dream. But this notion, written with a quill between his begging and his gardening, does not send me to wakefulness. For pain is how we relate to being, and it is the only way we are together. These struggles are how we resist a reality that will not come out to meet us, so we locate each other by thrashing in the monk's dream. And one more. This is sort of a list poem. It's called 15 Months, 22 Days. One war, 6 states, 5 countries, 273 missions, 1,228.5 flight hours, 30 rounds unfired, 15 days rest, 4 medals, 3 kills. 1 case of friendly fire in the unit, 2 cases of cowardice, 1 case of cancer. 52 steak nights, 1 quasi-mutiny, 5 divorces, 1 pregnancy, 1 unauthorized brewery, 2 acts of bestiality, witnessed, 34 paperbacks, read, 2 overseas bars, right sleeve. Thank you.
First poem is titled Rise After Falling. It's, I think this is one of the ones that were published in 9 lines. Yeah. Sun. A red wound bleeds out, flows over snow, where the pale blue body fell. Black burdened space, where all the answers once came rushing through cold in clouds or foggy breath. Passing over a child, sometimes descending, lingering, proof that God's still listening. Under darkness, drenched and icy, needing something to clench, snatch, with filthy fingers, flesh, beating against itself. These random, vein-wrapped hearts, like old churches and vines, crush. The next wrap, crush, pull them into earth. Will it all down for something to stand upon. Live a little longer as it all sinks slow in the low shadow of the sky's falling cloak. Last poem I read is titled Sense of Spring. Everything is in drunkenness of deep sobriety, the truth of a sense elevated in crisp spring. The green crispness, alive in the eyes over marble stones, brilliant in sun that passes through the leaves and shadows. Thousands of them dancing on the lawn and over the street, innumerable. Close your eyes and hear them shout with the breath of the world, and place one hand on the cast iron fence that separates you. Grip it where the sun has been torturing it all day. Feel the burn even as you shiver in the wind with all the world shouting. And when you walk away, pay attention to how it feels. The first step, the heel rolling forward. your eyes striving for a greater view. The wind curling itself around your fingers, tangling into your hair and brushing your cheek and tickling your ankles, even all your skin exposed to wind billowing up your pants, nothing ever untouched. That's all I got, guys. Thank you.